Well, I was a smart brown kid, and certainly in my generation, smart brown kid equals law or medicine. So when I got to college, I was pre-med, and then I was briefly pre-law when I couldn't handle human anatomy, and then I took a poetry class to meet girls. I thought, I bet there's going to be a lot of women in this class, and there were. So I really took it with romantic ambitions. At that point, I had never read anything written by a Native American, and it was the teacher in that class, Alex Quo, who gave me this anthology of contemporary Native American poetry called Songs from This Earth on Turtle's Back. There's about 150 poets, about 300 pages of poems, contemporary, utterly contemporary. And I instantly fell in love. One line in particular by Adrian Lewis, a Paiute Indian. "Oh, Uncle Adrian, I'm in the reservation of my mind." I read that line and that was it. I mean, you could argue I've been rewriting that same line ever since. If I could narrow down to one thing and still make money and still make a good living, a great living, it would be poetry. But nobody makes a great living at poetry. Nobody makes a good living writing poetry. But the two things I love most are writing poetry and performing. I kind of consider novels my day job, and I'm incredibly privileged that novels in fact do support me and my family, so it is an actual lucrative day job. How many people get to say that? About 50 of us. Somebody else had written True Diary when I was a kid, it would have been a revelation. I'm sure I would have been a writer sooner. You know, I started college pre-med. I would have been validated earlier. I might have left the rest of school at 6th grade or 5th grade or 4th grade. I think my ambitions would have been validated at a much earlier age, so I wonder how much that would have changed me. And I think it would have been completely positive. You know, the amazing thing about that book, though, is how it appeals to all sorts of demographics. I think the story of being lost as a kid and not feeling like you belong to your tribe and not feeling like you belong to any tribe is a universal quality. And, you know, it's published in so many languages and countries now. I get fan letters from South Korea and Malta and Russia, and it's been astonishing. And the letters are all so very similar. The struggle between being a member of your community and being an individual, and that eternal struggle. And kids get it the worst. Everybody's telling a kid what to be, and this book is telling that kid to have their own dreams. So I would have loved it. I would have loved it. I would have been writing fan letters to me. As a youngster, the book that first really appealed to me in some total emotional, spiritual way was A Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats, a picture book in which this inner city black kid goes out into the city on an adventure on a really snowy day and just gets in these really ordinary events. He makes snow angels, he gets into a snowball fight, so it's really simple, and the art is very simple. But it's this adventure, and then he goes back home to his mother, who puts him in the tub and warms him up and then puts him to bed. So it was this really beautiful love story between a mother and a son. But the big thing about it was that it had a brown kid. And certainly in 1969, 1970, when I was reading A Snowy Day for the first time, there was a complete absence of dark-skinned kids in literature. And for me, A Snowy Day was the first time, and really the only time during my early childhood where there was a brown-skinned protagonist. So that was really important. In terms of becoming a writer, the first writer that really got to me was James Welch, who is a Blackfoot Grovon Native American who wrote these novels called Winter in the Blood and The Death of Jim Loney, and then a book of poetry called Writing the Earth by 40. And he works in what I call reservation noir. It's realism, reservation realism. And it's the first time I'd ever seen myself as a reservation-raised Native American in literature. And I knew immediately upon reading Winter in the Blood that I wanted to become a writer. You know, I don't know that a book can do that. I think art can validate people's choices, but they need to be making the choices on their own. So I think as with books and me, I can recognize myself in a book, and I can feel validated and justified, and I can feel challenged. But the book doesn't change my life. I change my life based on the book, the energy the book helped give me. So I think that's what may happen with my books. I suspect there's going to be a lot more Native American writers because of my career. People who felt validated in their choice to become a writer. I've met them, so I know there are a lot. I think they would have become writers anyway. They just feel more emboldened now.